Hello, is anyone in? Hello, Nancy. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, Leonard. Hey, Sylvia. Thanks for joining. Wow, Sylvia. Every week, you tune in on time. Hello, Jason. Hello. Okay, help me to like and share so that we can get more viewers to come in. Okay, so as promised, right, every week I want to share with everyone what is the market update and the kind of sentiment. So the past 1 week, right, in fact, the market is still running very strong. Surprisingly, every one of us, hello Jean, hello Ding, every one of us, even property agents like us, right, are taken a little bit taken by surprise how the market actually rebounded so fast and stayed very consistently healthy, right? At first we all thought, right, this is kind of like just a very short rebound or correction, but it seems like every week we are building up and we are building up. Hello Jerry, hello Kelvin, right? We are building up, more and more buyers are coming in, right, into the market. So I've went through a couple of up and downs, bull and bear market in my career. Hello Lydia. But this time round, right, it's a little bit different, right? In previous round, there is rebound, right, in certain market or certain segment of the market, right? But in this round that we see, right, almost all segment of the market is rebounding quite healthily. Okay, if you talk about the HDB, it's crazy right now. If you talk about resale, private condominium, okay, buyers are coming in to buy. If you talk about new launches are selling out 50 to 70% in 1 day. If you talk about landed properties, which is our topic tonight, we will hear from our guests, right? What is the market sentiment today? And of course, even if you talk about hotel, okay, I go for a couple of staycation in the past couple of months, and especially for Sentosa hotels, they are actually running in a very high occupancy rate. You have to book early. I still remember that a couple of weeks ago, I went to Sofitel in Sentosa, and I thought I would just check in and book my dinner and book the spa. But to my surprise, okay, when I check in, when I call the restaurant that I want to have dinner on that very same night, they say that it is full. In fact, all the restaurant in the hotel is full for that night. Okay, so I also called to try to book a spa session, and then they said for the next 3 weeks is fully booked. So it's very crazy. I even called the hotel front staff. I say I come to your hotel for a staycation, but I cannot have dinner, I cannot have massage, right? So it's really that hot now. People book the hotel, right, like 1 or 2 months in advance, together with the restaurant, be it lunch or dinner and the massage all at the same time. So even hotels are running very full occupancy rate, right? People are starting to revisit booking of offices, right? Whether it be it upsize or downsize or they are shifting locations, right? Even though a lot of people are giving up their big office space, they are also coming in to book offices and things like that. You go to restaurant, okay, you see the restaurants all operating at a very high occupancy rate also. I think the restaurants are also starting to do very well. So if you talk about this recovery, it's not just property, or it's not just one segment. We are talking about multiple segments of the market, be it the stock market, be it oil prices, be it all kinds of the economy, right, is getting better. So I would say that this recovery in the property market or in the general economic sentiment, right, is really getting very, very strong. So there's one particular segment, right, in the property market that is especially strong, okay, or especially healthy, or I should say it's red hot right now, even more overwhelmed than the HDB market. So, and that is the landed market. So you might ask, is there a fire sale or is there a Great Singapore sale going on in the landed segment today? Okay, the answer is actually no. Because I myself, I went to visit a few landed properties because I also searching for my home, right, in the last couple of months. And I realized there are not many listings, landed listings in the market. Not many. We are talking about one whole entire estate. It could be probably just a couple of handful of listing. And then some of the units, right, or the landed homes, right, can be very, very run down because they are many years they have not done a major A&A, or they have not been renovated, or it could be built in the 60s or 70s. And they are asking for a couple of million of dollars. So that kind of landed property that you buy, right, you probably will need to rebuild the property. Or there might be some pretty new landed properties in the market, but they are asking a much higher price. So no two landed properties are the same. And there could be a very vast price difference. So how do we select what is the fair market price? What are some of the pitfalls that we should avoid? Or are there any kind of selection criteria that we should have before we look at, before we even go for a viewing, so to speak? Okay? And what kind of landed properties we should avoid, right? So is cheap really the reason to buy? Some landed properties are really cheap, but is there a reason behind it? So today, we are going to explore everything about landed property, something that a lot of Singaporeans, including myself, we want to own, we wish to own, we aspire to own, right? Because it's exclusively only for Singaporeans, unless you have LDAU approval from the authorities. If not, then it's purely just for Singaporeans. And we really want to hear from someone that is that has a lot of knowledge in this, that has a lot of experience in this. And the guest that I want to invite today is none other than our very experienced real estate salesperson, but also investor himself, Mr. Nizam. So Nizam has actually been interviewed by the Straits Times before. So this is his article sometime back, if you have not seen it before. He has not only one, he actually owned 2 landed property. So this is something that is I'm very envy about him, right? Most of us, right, if we can own 1 landed property, we are already very happy. But he owns not 1 but 2. And then in this article, he will go on to describe how he loves landed. And so today, right, we are going to ask him and to talk about this particular topic. Both as a homeowner and also experienced real estate salesperson who has been in this industry for a long time. So let's welcome Nizam. Hello, Nizam.
Okay, good.
Welcome to my show. So
Thank you
very
so much.
happy to have you on my show.
I'm happy too. I mean, from the way how you describe, I feel so, I'm not so sure if I'll be able to add that much value to the viewers.
Definitely you can.
I'll try my best to see what I can do.
Can anyone say hi to Nizam?
Hey, hi everybody. Thank you so much for logging
Anyone
in live,
out there,
right?
please say hi to Nizam.
Especially to all those Muslim friends out there. I know now is fasting time and you're breaking fast. It's also in between prayers and you're making time. And of course, everybody is also welcome and so nice to see all of you, right?
Okay.
Thank you. Right, so how do we go, Ben?
Very good. Right, so tonight I have a full hour with you. I hope every one of you, right, can also ask questions to Nizam directly. So we want to have a very interactive session. You have some burning questions you want to ask Nizam, please go ahead, type it into the comment box. Hello Preeti, hello King Yong, hello Eric.
Hi Jean, hi Lydia, hi Preeti.
Yeah.
Hi, so many of them. Hi, yes. Hi to everybody, love you all.
Okay, so Nizam, I prepared some questions. So maybe you just want to share with us, right? You own 2 landed houses.
Yeah,
okay?
That's right.
As much as you
ones, small ones. Yeah, okay.
As much as you can share with us, right? Describe a little bit about your 2 landed homes.
Okay, my first house that I bought was in 2005, I should say. 2005. When I was 38 years old.
All right.
What helped me to buy that was, I must say, I was somehow or other when
Hello,
I say,
Sharon. Hello, Joy. Hello, Lee.
I used to be studying at Gimo Secondary School.
Gimo, all
yeah.
right.
So I was doing my pre-U there. So we need to do our 2.4 kilometer run practice. So it's always around the Gimo landed estate. So when I was running around the landed
That's
estate,
Mount Sinai.
yes,
Mount Sinai,
yes,
right?
that's
Yeah,
right,
okay.
Mount Sinai area. So I was saying, hey, look, someday I must own landed. So that was this desire in me to say that, hey, someday I must own landed. Okay. And I also caught hold of this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Honestly, I can't remember who gave that to me, but that book, I can't remember who, but then someone gave me this book, and then I started reading. That's when I realized, hey, look, I mean, property investment is the way to go. And at that moment, I have not started into real estate yet, right?
Because Rich Dad Poor Dad talk a lot about property investment.
A lot about property investment, yeah. So I at that moment was staying in a 3-room HDB at Rochor.
So you grew up in a HDB flat?
Of course, I mean, my whole family, everybody grew up in a HDB flat. We were first at the rental flat, you know. All these blocks have been demolished at Lengkok Bahru, right? Then from there, we moved on to Lengkok Bahru again with my parents. And when I got married, I bought a house in Lengkok Bahru again, right? And after that, because once I have got children, we need my in-laws to help to look after, then I moved on to Rochor. So that's where I stayed there for many years, Rochor actually. And while I was there was when I acquired my first landed.
Okay. So how do you selected this landed property?
Well, my selection process was rather quite easy and fast. It was because that was
Was it a terrace or a semi or what?
That's a corner terrace.
Corner terrace.
A corner
Alright.
terrace, overlooking. A
So
park.
this first one is a corner terrace.
Yeah, the first one is a corner terrace. So that was why I say the selection process was easy, because I know my budget, and then within that budget, when I saw in the market, there was very, very little. There was nothing to choose. There was hardly like 4 or 5 units. When I went to go and see, it's taken, and when I go and see another one taken, that was in 2005. And at that moment, somehow or other, because I always follow very closely Ismail's consumer seminars. Those days already he used to be sharing a lot about, you know, agents training as well as consumer seminars we used to have. So I was saying, hey, look, if I miss now, then the gap is going to get wider between HDB as well as private, right? So I thought there's a time to catch. So I just,
as far as I remember, right, 2005 was at the very, very low point of the property price, property market pricing.
yes, one of the
right?
low point actually.
It started to rebound somewhere in end of 06, right?
Yes, that's right. So that 1 year was actually, and when I got that.
So the question is, just now you say your budget. So can you share with everyone how much you bought your landed
you
property?
won't believe it. You won't believe it. I got
Hello, Elaine, Jasmine. Hello.
okay. I got my first corner terrace, right?
Corner terrace.
Corner terrace.
Wait, leasehold or freehold? Or
Freehold.
999? Freehold.
Freehold.
Corner terrace. Where is it located?
A 2.5
roughly?
story, District 15 Opera Estate.
District 15 Opera Estate.
Yeah. I got it at, you want to hear?
Of course.
935,000.
935,000.
Yes.
Freehold, corner terrace, Opera Estate, District 15. Oh my.
Wow, you can't
I
believe
should have jogged at Gimor when I was young.
You must have gone jogging.
No, I jogged at HDB Estate.
Okay, and then that's why I mean.
Hello, Ling.
Yeah. Okay.
Buy landed lah, Ling.
Hi, Ling. Yes. Good. Okay, yeah lah. But then again, I was also very clear. I said that I don't want to sell my HDB to buy landed. I wanted to hold on.
So back then there was no ABSD.
There was no
so you are
ABSD,
able to hold on to your
there was no
HDB.
second residential property loan restriction on the loan and all that, right? So I retained my HDB, and then I went on to buy my landed.
Okay, so do you stay there or what?
Yeah, I actually moved in there together with my family, and then my kids went over to that school, Opera Estate Primary School. So just walk to school. It was so convenient.
So walk to school.
Yeah.
All right.
Right,
So, can I say it was purely more for, how to say that, actually still as a home?
Yes, it was more as a home, but
As a home, but at the same time with an investment angle, right?
actually my whole purpose was an invest, because at that point of time, 1 million wasn't like cheap in the market. At that point of time, that was a fair price. Also, though it was at the low point of the market, that was a fair, and that was a huge commitment to me. So when I wanted to renovate the place, I called my friend who is also my buddy. Yeah. So I told him, hey, look, I'm just going to stay here for 5 years only. Renovate enough to last for 5 years. After that, I want to sell so that I just want to take back the profit.
But you kept
and
it
see
for 16 years already.
yeah, that's right, 16 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Then I realized I wouldn't want to sell it anymore.
So what about your second landed home?
Second landed, I bought 6 years later.
6 years later, which is in 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
2011, and I collected the key on my birthday.
All right.
Yeah, I can remember that. That's much smaller, just 1,600.
Also a corner? Inter-terrace?
No, that's an
Inter-terrace.
inter-terrace. And I paid double the price.
Oh, so that's how much?
That was 1.8 mil.
1.8 million.
Yeah.
So 2005, 935,000 corner terrace. 6 years later, inter-terrace, 1.8 million. So is there a message that you want to share with everyone?
Okay, sure. So the message here is this.
Hello, Jimmy.
Jimmy Ng, wow, Jimmy, yeah, my buddy, right? Okay, thanks. The message here is market will be moving. Never look back and say, wow, I missed it those days. Of course, we all missed it those days, right? Because I could even have bought earlier. Because my father actually, many years ago, he went to see a landed property as well. He actually even offered for the landed property, but then the seller decided not to sell. Then they gave it away to their relative. So my father attempted but never had a chance to buy.
So back then was like how much?
I really do not know. At that time, I was just in school. Yeah, it was probably like.
But even 1.8 for inter-terrace, right? If you talk about today's market, right, it's still very cheap.
Yeah, today will easily be about 2.5 to 2.6.
Yeah,
thereabout. Yeah, that was in 2011. So yeah, that's about 10 years already right now.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say some good luck, some good timing, some good advisors, right, got you into the game, and then the rest is history, right?
God bless. I've been blessed and guided, I should say.
Okay. Okay, so I suppose your house, right, it's not brand new when you bought it, right?
That was about 12 years old. Wasn't brand new. Yeah.
So currently, are you staying at the HDB or landed?
I have sold my HDB already
so
last
HDB?
year. Yeah.
And shifted back to your landed?
Shifted back to my corner terrace.
All right. So Nizam did share with me a little bit about before he shifted back to the landed, right? It was rented out?
It has been, it had been rented out because I bought the landed. After we stayed there for about 2 years, then my kids and family, they all went to UK to study, so I was all alone, so I didn't want to have a landed, so I went back to my HDB. Then when the kids wanted to come back, my wife wanted to come back about 2011 from UK, that's when I thought, hey look, that house was rented out, so that's why I bought the inter-terrace, and I was staying there for a good couple of 5-6 years until I got my HDB from Rocho. It went on an en bloc, so I got it at Kallang.
Lucky.
I don't think, I'm not so sure whether there was luck or not, but then again, because after I took the HDB, I thought I regretted because I could not go into any more investment of other properties at all.
So because it's an MOP, right?
Yeah, at that point of time, I wanted to buy riverfront residences. So I in fact placed an option money for riverfront as well. Then I wrote into HDB, but then they say, look, cannot. So I wanted to buy even actually under my son's name as trust, but they didn't allow. They say that, hey, look, your MOP is not over, and even under trust, your son is an occupier, cannot. So then I.
So HDB will also have what we call that opportunity cost, right? Because for 5 years you cannot invest and things like that. Okay, now we go back to the landed.
Good.
So you rented out for many years, and when you decided to shift back, right, you shared with me that you actually decided between tearing down to rebuild, or going through an A&A, or just simply do some light renovation and moving back. So maybe you want to describe what you did, why you chose what you did, and what the whole entire process and the cost involved.
Okay, this whole thing started somewhere like 2 years back, almost 2 years plus.
2 years back.
I wanted to demolish and rebuild it.
Why?
Why I wanted to demolish and rebuild was because I wanted to make that to be my home together with my kids, and then also I was thinking of was all my life, my wife and my 3 children have been so supportive. They have never told me, Nizam, or Daddy, this is the place I want to go, or here I don't want to stay here. They have all been supportive. Where you buy, you must have a reason.
Stay Rocho also can.
Yeah, stay Rocho also can.
Stay HDB also can.
HDB also can. In fact, from my inter-terrace where we were staying, right, within 1 week we decided to move back to HDB because I actually renovated the place expecting my parents to come and stay because it's just overlooking fantastic view and all that. But my father, after all the renovations, my dad was saying, hey, look, my son, I'm already 90 years. You want me to move now, huh? I said, wow, okay lah, but what to do now? I cannot leave it vacant, ma. So I just turned around, then I just moved in there. Yeah. So the family was so supportive, and I thought we just have to just let them feel that this is a home, lah. So they demolished and rebuilt. Yeah.
Okay.
And
was there anything that you really don't like about that landed that you want to demolish it?
Okay, one thing that I really didn't like about the house was, though it was only built about 12 years ago when I bought in 2011, but the ceiling height is so low.
Ceiling height is low.
Ceiling height is low.
Landed property ceiling height cannot be low,
I mean,
must be high, right?
Usually it's very high, isn't it?
Just like you choose a ballroom in the hotel, the ballroom, the ceiling height must be high.
So there was no way, there is no way.
You cannot,
you can't.
You cannot tear down the ceiling and make it higher?
No.
Is that possible?
A and A you can't. You can't, because the floor plate is all built already. Okay. So you can't. I mean, if you want to increase ceiling height, the only way here is to demolish and rebuild. And then I also,
you decided to demolish and rebuild because of ceiling height?
Because of ceiling height, and also I wanted to have more efficient layout with all attached toilet and something more modern and trendy, make every members of the family comfortable.
Okay. So tell us what you went through.
Okay, I went through. This has been a very learning experience for me.
Dear friends, this is very important because why? Every buyer, right, of a landed property, they thought they just buy a landed and then just move in, but it's actually not. When you really go into the details, right, there's a lot of things that some you can change, some you can't change. That you could possibly spend $1 million or you could possibly spend $100,000. So Nizam is someone that has went through this painful process or maybe pleasurable process, okay, depending on what he do, right? And then he came to this decision that is the best for him. So I think there is going to be a lot of learning experience from what he went through. So we have to really pay attention.
Yep, sure. Yep. And I hope you can pass on this message or this experience to some of your friends and clients as well. You see, the thing here is I wanted to demolish and rebuild. I was very, very clear because for me to sell that property and then to buy another property, I was still locked in with the HDB again.
You like the location?
I like the location. I liked everything about the house, the facing, orientation, everything I liked. The only thing I didn't like here is that it's low as well as not maximized. So one idea was to just sell it, but to go and buy a bigger plot of land. But the thing here, since I took the HDB, right, which so I had to wait for the MOP, and the MOP was only over last year.
Last year, okay.
It was only over last year. So that's why I thought, look, if I'm going to wait for the MOP, and then I am going to sell and buy, by that time, I think my son, already 2 of them are in NS right now. By the time they would have all gone to universities, maybe overseas, I won't know. And my daughter too, right?
So you might not need a bigger house.
Yeah, then at that point of time, build a big house, but it's just me and my wife, it doesn't make sense, right? So that was the reason.
So you decided to rebuild the house?
Not rebuild the house. So I actually spent one
So you wanted to rebuild the house,
subsequently
you decided not to rebuild the house?
Yeah, but this whole process went through 1 year because I engaged an architect, a structural engineer, ID, right? All the soil testing was done. The drawings was all submitted to the URA. Every time you submit a drawing for approval, it costs about 4,000, 6,000 and all that, and everything was done. So this was about an 8-month process, which I fell in love with the house so much, exactly the way how I wanted, right? And then I also have 1 floor, a mezzanine floor just for my parents, with a room as well as a living room, plus a maid nearby so that they can look after with a lift in the house. Everything was done. And I went through the tender quote to get the quote from 5 contractors, and also interviewed all of the
wow, that's a long process.
Because building a house will take easily about 12 to 18 months, right?
Okay.
Yeah, minimum is about 12 months. So you are not just building, you are not just renovating a house. So why you need to have an interview with that builder here is to see the chemistry. I mean, are you able to get along? Do they really understand? Is this a person that you want to work on your project for the next 1 year? So I actually went through this whole process and almost wanted to appoint. It's like tomorrow want to sign the contract to appoint.
Then what happened?
Then I just went over to visit my dad, and my father was at Ismail's place, right? So we were just talking, then Ismail was asking, Nizam, you sure? Are you sure you want to demolish and rebuild, spend that money? Why didn't you just sell and then, use that money to go and buy a bigger plot of land? I say,
but that's exactly what you didn't want, right? A bigger house.
That was something that I didn't want because of the entire delay. But then when Ismail said that, I said, okay lah, think through lah. Then I started looking for house, looking for another house. So in order to sell, I got this contractor who I wanted to engage, right, I tell him, hey bro, now I changed plan. You just, instead of demolishing and rebuild, I give you a $30,000 budget. You just do some touch up to the house.
So you wanted to do a touch up to the house to sell? All right.
To sell.
To sell, to buy another resale landed.
Another resale landed with a bigger land.
With a bigger land.
But then I had to wait for my HDB MOP to be over also, which was last year, July. Then after he renovated the place with the 30,000, I say, hey, the house looks nice.
Fall in love back to his house.
I said the house looked nice.
This is what emotional seller.
And then I was also thinking, hey look, isn't that what I went through in the very beginning to say I don't want to go through this whole delay and I wanted to shift in fast because otherwise the whole building will take and my kids may not even be with me. They all may be overseas or studying or whatsoever. I won't know, right? So I said,
so how much you spend? You spend. There's definitely some cost involved, right, to engage all these plans.
Yeah, architect, structural engineers, IDs and submissions and all that. That came to about 60 to 70,000, and then there was this renovation for the house come to about 30,000. So it was like $90 to $100,000 spent already, right?
Wasted down the drain.
So, but I think it wasn't wasted. I choose to look at it as I was guided.
Oh, okay.
I was guided. So rather than going into a project to build for another about 1.5 mil, and then by the time I got a nice, big, beautiful house, but then the family.
So you paid for expensive lesson.
Consultation. Guidance from God. Okay. So then I said, hey, look, no, I just want to renovate the place. I was asking if we can renovate, how long can we take to renovate the place? So he said, okay. He can get it done in about 4 months. And last year, after
renovate also take 4 months.
Yeah, 4 months. It was a massive renovation.
Okay, massive renovation.
Totally overhaul the entire house.
Okay, roughly describe what do you do to the house.
That is the thing that I love about landed. See, what I love about landed here is this. What I did was, on the ground floor, I whacked away all the walls, leaving only the columns, right? So all the front wall, the side wall, the bedroom wall, the dividing wall, everything break away on the ground floor. And then redraw it with a piece of paper, right, redraw. And my good friend Anthony Tan, who's also one of my associates, who is very much involved in renovation and all that, he gave me some ideas. He said, Nizam, I've been to your house, if you were to change it this way, it would be nice. So initially, there were 2 rooms in front, and then there was a dining, and then the kitchen was right at the back. So take a piece of paper, then we just sketch. Now the 2 rooms were shifted behind, then the kitchen was brought into the center, then the living was extended to be much brighter.
So you have a bigger living space right now.
Yeah, so these are the things that you cannot do with an apartment. An apartment, you cannot shift the kitchen from the front to the back or from the back to the in front. Yeah, you can't. But for landed, you can just do anything that you want. Then I had 2 rooms on the ground floor, but the rooms were not attached toilet. So now when I did that now, I actually came with an attached toilet. So I got a room for my parents or my in-laws whenever they come and visit. They got a room that got toilet access, and my daughter has got a room that has got toilet access, and then added 1 more toilet on the room upstairs, and then made a bigger room and bigger toilet and all comfortable. So massive lah. But it's something that I'm just happy that we could quickly move in. So last year we straight away moved in. Otherwise, because of the COVID, the entire construction would have even gone a lot further. So we are happily home.
Okay, so do you think this whole process, right, is painful or enjoyable? Or should any potential buyer, right, factor this in before they go and shop for a landed property?
Okay, I have served many landed property owners, right? I see 2 group of owners. You see, for me personally, I love to be involved in the tiny details. And maybe I would like to just give some suggestion and advice. Okay, for anybody who want to build, especially if your clients want to build or even yourself, the first thing that you should do here is not go and get a builder. Don't get a builder. If you want the nice, perfect home for yourself, get an architect first.
Architect first?
Architect first. Yeah, because a builder will generally come based on what his standard used to do, standard designs, right? So he will just copy, not to say every architect do that, every builder do that, but then most builders just do what they know, what is convenient, what is easy for them to do. They just
what is the norm?
Yeah, what is the norm rather. But when you go through an architect sit down with you, a consultation for about 2-3 months to understand what is the lifestyle that you want, then the flow of your movement, how do you really move and all that. So you come up with an entire new concept. Based on the concept, then you bring over to the builder and tell him, hey, this is a drawing I have. Can you build this for me? But what I did was, and what I advise to all other buyers was when you bring in an architect to do the design, at the same time you also bring in an ID.
So architect first, ID second.
Yes, but the ID and architect has to be working together in hand.
Okay.
Because you see, you don't want to build a house, then the renovation idea come with creative ideas. Hey, you knock down this wall and you built already, you know. Then you knock down this, then you change the door. You know why you want to do that? So in the design stage, you bring in an ID.
So it has to be a very close collaboration, right?
Close collaboration.
Yeah, okay.
Then you can see your piece of art being created.
So I guess the gist of the question is it depends on what kind of character you are. So if let's say for me, right, I like to do jigsaw puzzle.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So to spend a couple of hours or even a few days, right, to piece together a jigsaw puzzle, right, it's like a sense of achievement, right? For some people, they rather just go out there and buy a painting, spend money buy painting, right? They don't want to go through that kind of, or like, you know, do you enjoy building cars? Do you enjoy building Lego?
Yep.
Right? So I think building a house or even renovating a house, right, if you can get heavily involved and you can input your ideas, your creativity, and one fine day you see the final product that, right, from pen, paper to real life. I think that is a satisfaction.
So to answer your question, whether is this a painful or is it a joyful?
So are you a jigsaw puzzle lover or do you like to buy painting?
I love the whole process and so much so that I fall in love with this entire project, and I can wake up in the middle of the night and then I'll say, how come the drawing is like that? Something I'm not happy with.
So you're involved with it.
Then I'll always sketch with my idea, then I give it to the architect, and then the architect and ID will try to solve the problem to create what it is. Yeah, so it is a lot of back forth, but I like that. But I've also come across couples who tell me, Nizam, I just want to buy a house where it's almost ready, we just want to move in. Because there are also couples who have got differences in opinion.
Because cost is involved, right?
Cost is involved, time is involved.
Can you share with us how much you renovated your house?
I mean,
I dare to ask, this one is a band live talk show, a lot of secret one. Okay, that's a rough figure.
Okay, it came close to $500,000 to do the entire house.
Wow, $500,000, and this is just a renovation. It's not even an A&A.
It is not an A&A because A&A basically
you never added additional floors or whatever.
No, I didn't add an additional floor. I didn't increase the GFA. A&A basically means there's an increase in the GFA, but this is not. But what I did was I totally reconfigured the entire layout of the place.
So it's a massive renovation.
It's a massive change, and people who have been to the house, like when Ismail popped over to the house right after the house was done, you say, wow, really? It's totally different. Because when I was going through this whole process, I didn't tell my parents what the changes was going through. So I wanted them to see for themselves. Yeah. So when they saw, because they all have seen my house before, and when they see the house after, they say this is unimaginable. Because, but nothing there was lavish. I didn't spend anything on lavishly. I would say that generally I am a very prudent person when it comes to spending money. Yeah, I still drive my Toyota, right?
Must change.
Must change. Okay, so it was all done to make things last and the family to be happy. And another thing why I dare spend on landed property here is this. This is something when you spend, I'm just using an example. When you spend $200,000 on a landed property, the value of the house can appreciate by $400,000. But when you spend $200,000 on an apartment, the value don't increase by $200,000.
True.
Yeah, because apartment, the comparison is always based on the recent transacted, right? But then a landed house is always very, very unique. Most landed houses are very unique.
That's what I mentioned about every landed being different. The price can vary greatly in the same location, and they all have different land size, land shape.
Okay.
Some are 1 story, some are 2 stories, some are 3 stories, some are 3 with attic and things like that.
That's right. So even the money that I spent, I will say that this was a money put into enhancing the value of the property.
So that it could fetch a better value next time.
So in fact, though I put in 500,000, which sounds like wow, a lot to some people, but then people who do landed property, to them this is really may not be that much. I know. But on the other hand, the value of the property now has gone up to more than half a million dollars.
Don't say already lah, 935,000.
Don't go there lah. I'm talking about the market value at that.
Market value, District 15 Opera Estate Corner Terrace House freehold. Come on, give me some comment. How much is it worth right now? How big is your land?
2132.
2132 land size. Actually, I did ask Nizam this question before. How much is the property worth right now? Actually, he also don't know because he has no intention to sell. So no intention to sell, he never do valuation, and I type in the comment box how much do you think Nizam's corner terrace house at Opera Estate freehold
No lah.
2,100 over
No, Ling.
square feet?
No, $5 million, I give it to you. $5 million, I give it to you. No.
Sell, 5 million, sold. Sell, will you sell for 5 million now?
I mean, why not? I got no emotions to the home. None of my kids got no emotions to the home. You ask my wife, hey, ready to sell? No, any moment can sell. If can make money, sell, and then we can move on and build something else. Always not a problem.
But I can understand why some buyers want to buy fully renovated landed, because just now, like you mentioned, right, even come out with $500,000 just for a renovation can be quite tough on the down payment and things like that.
Actually, not true. Also, you know, you know why? Because when I bought that house, right, at that moment I only spent $30,000 on renovation.
Oh, that's quite low.
Yeah. So
the house was quite nicely done up.
Because that was a 12 years house, and I spent $30,000 to renovate. So you don't have to. When I say 500,000, it's really because I totally re-changed the entire thing.
So
of the house,
it's a high-end renovation.
Yeah. And then when I went on to, I call it asset enhancement.
Asset enhancement. Okay.
But
asset enhancement.
When I went on to stay in this inter-terrace, I was staying in the inter-terrace. Okay.
Hello, Alvin, David.
Yes.
3.5 million.
Kelvin
3.5 million.
Yeah.
Wonder moment. Wow.
Okay.
3 million.
3 million plus.
4 million.
Yeah. So
now you know.
Yeah. So it will be like between 3.6 thereabout. That's what I will expect it to be like 3.6 to about 3.7 maybe.
In just 16 years, 900,000 becomes close to 4 million.
Yep. Okay.
So envy.
No lah. I mean,
I don't want to do this interview anymore.
Please,
I think I want to go back and cry.
Please. Yeah. But okay, let's just value add, right?
Eric, 4 million.
So I would also want to just take this concern away. Landed means you must renovate a lot. You see, because the other inter-terrace that I bought, and I actually stayed there for about about 5-6 years. And that, you know how old is that building? It's a 2-story. That building, that house, 1,600, was about 50 years old when I bought. 45 years old thereabout when I bought. The first owner, you know how much he bought it for?
How much?
$30,000.
30,000.
Yeah, and then he sold it to the second owner at 750,000.
Wow, that's how many times?
Yeah.
20 times.
30,000 to 750,000.
20 times, 25 times.
And then in 2011, the third owner, at the time paid 1.8 for it.
1.8.
Yeah. So you see.
1.8 now still 3 over million.
No. But the moral of why I'm sharing that here is when I stayed there, I only spent $80,000 to renovate.
So is it okay for someone to buy a landed that is fully renovated but the price is like a bit higher? Do you think it's worth it?
Okay, when you want to ask
save the
worth
hassle and things like that?
Well, I will have to dissect that question into two parts. Two parts.
Because when I went myself to go shopping for landed, right, I find it very confusing. I just don't see like condominiums or HDB, right? There's a fair market price. Like you mentioned, your neighbors sell this price, so this is plus minus 10, 20,000 more, cannot be too far away. But for landed, it's like, they can sell you a very, very old original house in the 1960s or 70s for a lot of money.
Yep. You see, landed house is a bit complex, but it's also fun and easy for people to learn, but they just have to get onto the ground. Earlier, your question was, is it worth for people to buy a fully done up house up to date? There are two views to this, whether from investment point or from lifestyle point. If I were to take from investment point, the best value buy for you to buy a house here is a house that is built about over 10 to 20 years.
10 to 20 years.
Yes. Why? Because what increases the value of landed here are two values. The land value will, of course, especially if it is a freehold or 999, the land value will, of course, increase, right? But the building will depreciate in value, right? So when you buy something that is very new, you are buying just like car. You are actually buying something that is very, very new.
Brand new car depreciate
Brand
more.
new car.
He say me, cannot buy brand new car.
Thank you for the ride yesterday on your new car.
So Caden is the smart one, buy resale.
Okay.
I buy brand new car.
So from investment perspective, the best here is for you to buy like over 10 to 15 or
so there's a kind of like certain depreciation in the building, and then you do your asset enhancement.
Yes, then you do the renovation to do the asset enhancement, because over the 20 years, until the 20 years, there is a change in what is acceptable in the market, the norm, the design, the facade change and all that. And all this facade change is just like little touch up on the makeup, that's all. It doesn't cost much. Yeah, so you can actually do those change.
Okay, enough about the cost and the money. A bit envy with some anger and jealousy.
Don't lah. I mean,
We talk about something else. Yeah, cannot turn back the time. I still remember back then, 2005 was when I started this industry. I still got no money to buy landed.
no, but you see, I mean, last year I had one of my agent also bought a landed property. Yeah, another agent also bought a landed property.
Now we enter the price different. Old house 3-4 million. Oh, you're But okay lah, the price. Okay, so maybe I fast forward. There's one question I want to ask you. Maybe I fast forward. Now I ask you. Do you think right now, even though let's say your house is worth 4 million, it will still continue to go up in price?
Okay, it will surely continue to go up in price. Let me just put it in the way.
Can Singaporeans really can afford the salary? Can keep up with the
you look at
price of property?
Sure, it will, and I give you my reasons why. Landed property is like a slow cooker approach. This word I borrow from Ismail. Yeah, Ismail used
You
this
see, my wife jealous.
Yeah.
Jialat. Later I go back. Jialat.
When I say slow cooker, means it will slowly but surely go up over a period of time. Why? Because the total number of landed property is less than 5%, probably about 4% plus of the entire residential.
Entire Singapore residential, HDB, condo
and all
apartment, and landed is only 4%.
Yes, and there are only about 70 to about 80,000 landed property. That's all that is.
And Singapore government don't release land for landed, right? Do they?
They don't have, but then they don't. There is no GLS for land sale. I mean for a landed. Yeah.
Government land sales for like 100 landed.
There may be small plots of land. There may be, but then generally it doesn't come because it's not an efficient use of land. Yeah.
So what is available in the market and that's it? There's no more supply.
I don't foresee.
So for anyone that wants to buy a landed, it's either you have to buy over someone else's house.
No, but there will be from the developer's stock of land that they built in parcels. There will be coming, but they are very insignificant to increase the supply.
Okay, so supply is limited.
Supply is, I would say, inelastic.
Okay.
Right, in that sense, and more Singaporeans are becoming more affluent, and at the same time, more PR are also becoming Singaporeans. So there is an increase.
And they're very rich.
Yeah, and so there's an increase in that. Okay, then again, your question was, will the price increase or not? Look back even in the condominium pricing. There were a time where we say, hey, look, can or not, price can go up. But today, what used to be the OCR price in just about 10 years ago, what used to be OCR pricing is now we cannot even buy ECs at this kind of
I remember back then in year 2005 or 06 when you bought your landed, right, was also when the sale was launched. Right, for at around $900 or $1,000 per square foot leasehold property, and back then a lot of people are saying, hey, the sale at 900 to 1,000 leasehold is very expensive.
They said, siao, you want to buy that? Because I had clients who say, siao, people offered to me before, I don't want to buy, you want me to, but then again, you see, that's why, it takes a lot more understanding of the dynamics of the market to see the potential. But on the other hand, people lose money is not because they bought at the wrong time, it's also because they sell at the wrong time. If they only were to hold it longer, potentially and probably they can make more. Yeah.
Okay, good. So you mentioned you are born in HDB, you grew up in a HDB. You're not born in HDB, you're born in a hospital. You grew up in a HDB, you stayed in HDB for many years. So right now you shifted back to your landed to stay. Maybe you want to briefly describe what are some of the very different lifestyle changes between staying in a HDB and staying in a landed. Maybe some of our viewers right now have the ability to upgrade from a HDB to a landed. $1 million HDB nowadays are very common, so it's quite an easy jump from HDB to a landed. Or maybe you want to share with them what are the big differences.
Okay, I mean the question you also asked. I mean people from HDB jumping to landed.
Yeah.
Should
they do it?
Yeah, I mean if they could, they should. Yeah, if they could, they should. But they must be very clear why are they moving from HDB to landed. Anybody who buys...
Hey, Kevin, don't ask my wife to go shopping.
Time to go shopping, huh? Okay, people who buy landed either has to be for own stay, or if it is for investment, it has to be for capital appreciation perspective.
Capital appreciation.
Not for rental return.
Not for rental.
Because landed can never give you as much rental returns.
But you rented Nizam.
Yeah. Yes, I rented it, but my approach to investing in landed was not from a rental perspective. I wanted the capital gain
So
perspective.
you are very, how to say, you are very aware that the rental yield is not going to be high.
Yeah, I was
but
very,
it's just that you want to own it for a couple of years for capital appreciation to happen.
Sure.
So you just rent out
That's
for the moment.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So even because I've also have upgraded. I mean, one of my clients upgraded from a HDB in Punggol to a landed.
Wow, from Punggol straight away to landed.
Landed, yeah.
That's a big
from,
jump.
from HDB straight away to a landed at Yio Chu Kang. Yeah. So it is possible. Yeah.
So what are some of the biggest
Differences. Of course, the
No
HDB.
need, no need to take leave.
No need
No need to park your car far away, park in front of the house.
There will be certain compensation and there will be some plus points also. You see, the thing here is usually around the HDB amenities, there will be shops, whatever nearby.
Amenities, yeah.
Yes, amenities.
I
You can
realize a
just
lot of landed properties, right, don't have too much amenities. Like, you don't have a sing song right outside your house, right?
Yeah, you will not have. You will not have. Yeah. But if you have, then you are very lucky, right? Like even from my place to go to the nearest NTUC, if walking will take us about 7-8 minutes.
Oh, that's very near. 7-8 minutes walk
okay.
to NTUC is still considered very
Yep. So
accessible.
But yeah, that's actually considered quite accessible. But then again, not every landed property comes with that kind of accessibility lah. So you will probably have to compensate on that nearness. That's one. Secondly, it's not like you can just walk straight to MRT station and or the bus stops. It's not a problem at all. From my place to MRT station is about 10 minutes, so it's not too bad. It's still acceptable. But other thing, the benefits of landed, of course, here is you straight away park the car and then you just unload everything. You want to get out, you just put everything into the car and then you just get out. You know, it's like you don't have to just worry about all those.
This is something very true, no? Because sometimes because maybe I get influenced by my wife. Nowadays I'm very forgetful.
You blame it on your wife.
Always I take the lift down. And then I go to my car park and then, I forgot to take something. Then I have to go all the way out. And then I have to ask my mate to come down and pass it to me. I think that's, you know, if you forget something, your car, if you stay in landed, right, just in front, your car is just in front.
Yeah. So there is all this convenience, and of course the biggest convenience is the space.
Space.
Yeah, space is something that it's, you really feel that you can do a lot more. I mean, for you to have dedicated space to what you want to do for your family, for yourself, even when you want to entertain guests or family gatherings and all that, even to run meetings at home. Yeah. So one of the intention why I also did the house the way that I did here is because I want to, especially with this COVID, the entire lifestyle has changed. So you want a bigger space, and you also want to just be able to run meetings and whatever at home.
A lot of people want more rooms, more space.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so maybe I also want to ask you, right, because you stay in the HB before, you stay in landed, but have you stayed in a condominium before?
Never.
Do you miss having facilities in a condominium? Do you visualize that you can have all those clubhouses, 50-meter swimming pool? Maybe you can squeeze in a small pool in a landed lah, you know, but unless you stay in a GCB, right, you probably won't have a 50-meter swimming pool, right? So the gym and things like that. Do you miss all those facilities?
I have never thought about that really, because, but I have always thought, hey, I've got HDB, I got landed, I should have a condo lah. I thought from that perspective, but never have thought from facilities perspective. So surely if there had been facilities.
Do you think your children will enjoy the facilities?
Surely they would have enjoyed the facilities. Surely they would have enjoyed the facilities. That's also the reason why many young parents would like to just buy.
Hey Sylvia, you don't anyhow suggest.
Okay, please don't pull me into whatever that's happening between the both of you, alright? Okay.
No, because I myself, I also want to shop for landed, right? But at the same time, I also think, hey, my mom, she can exercise and go swimming, right? She can walk around. And then if let's say I want to entertain I can hold big events, even though the landed could be big, right? But unless your landed is very big, you possibly won't be able to hold like 30, 40 people. I can do that in the function room, and you know, things like that. My children can go swimming while we go work. So these kind of things that, you know, I also kind of struggle between condo and landed things.
Surely it's an entirely different lifestyle. Living in a condo and then entirely different. So there's also the reason why there are people only prefer condo as well as facilities where they want the children to interact with other children and all that, right? But condo, I mean landed is just
But
different.
you don't miss that lah.
I didn't miss that basically because from the very moment I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki, my mind was only how to make the property investment increase.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Well
That
done.
was all what was in my mind.
Well done. Okay.
Oh, you got a long list, huh?
Yeah, I got a long list, of course, because I have a lot of questions. But please, all my viewers, please feel free. You have any questions, type it in the comment box and then we'll answer them live on this show. This show is not just about us, talking about to each other. You can talk to us. I want to Nizam will be very happy to answer all your questions.
I hope I can. I will try my best.
So let me just kick off with some questions. So, in my topic, right, I say the beautiful and the ugly truth about staying landed or landed ownership. So Nizam briefly talk about all the costs. It's not going to be cheap. If you really want to build a very beautiful landed home, it probably cost you more than $1 million to rebuild, right?
If you totally want to demolish and rebuild by the size, it will easily cost you $1 million, especially in today's context.
And then to renovate a couple of $100,000 dollars, so it's not going to be.
No, but if you were to rebuild, that includes the renovation, the carpentry, everything fitted inside already. So once you rebuild, you don't need to spend anything onto it for renovation. Yeah.
A few $100,000 for renovation, more than $1 million to rebuild. Okay,
Actually, if you look at it, it's a lot more worth it to demolish and rebuild to pay that double than to go and do renovation.
Yes. So buying new car is still okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, right, staying landed, one of the biggest problem to me is parking. Why parking? Because I feel that you really must drive if you stay in landed. Because most of the landed properties, right, even just now you mentioned, even like Mount Sinai and anywhere, or even in the area that you stay in the operate estate, you don't have a bus stop right in front of the house. You don't have a taxi stand. You don't have a MRT station right in front of the house. Most of the time, the thing is about buying landed, you want your landed to be peaceful, quiet, and not facing the main road. So most of the time it's quite inside. Okay, in our terms, it's what we call ulu. The more ulu, the better, because you don't have main road traffic, you don't have bus noise, you don't have all this. But then again, when it's ulu, right, means you have to drive. And when you drive, the biggest problem is parking. So Nizam, how many cars can you park inside your house if you don't want to share?
Inside my house, I can only park one.
Okay, you park, but how many cars you have?
2.
So what happens to the other car?
Park outside.
Park outside. Okay, so this is something I myself and my wife, we debate, we argue because we both drive. So if let's say I park one car outside, I park one car inside, then if let's say the car that's parking outside my fence, right, will be blocking the car that's parking inside my house. So every day I got to do car shifting. So this is something that, but for your case, right, I realized that you can park your car actually along the road.
Along the road as well. So that doesn't actually interfere. So now maybe I can actually share some of
those
those
things. Do you quarrel
things.
with your neighbors about parking?
No.
You don't?
No. In fact,
you are lucky and very lucky.
No, actually, you talk about quarrel, it need not be in landed houses. So even HDB also, there can be cases people actually quarrel. I mean, by the way, maybe Lynn has got
Lynn
this
has a
nice
question.
issue. Is the maintenance fee for landed high? I always have this concern like paint and pets issues. Is it pets or is it pest? I think she means pest or pets.
Oh, you must get used to it. It's like that one. Her English only I can understand.
Okay, no, please. Ayo, sorry, Lynn. No, I didn't mean that way. It's sabo. Okay.
Later she'll ask you, do you have sotong coming into your garden?
Okay. Okay. There are a few questions now, so I try to remember them and handle
We have a lot of questions for you. The show is not going to end so fast.
Okay, because you asked about the parking, right?
Parking. Okay, we answer the parking first.
Okay, that's why, I mean, not only parking. When you buy a landed house, it's really very important for you to make sure you buy something where you're able to walk through, see through, and understand to make sure that there isn't unexpected shock that you have in the house after you have bought, right? Like, you know, major illegal works done to the house, or maybe a major water seepage issue or roof problem or whatsoever.
Never mind, just tear down, rebuild.
Right. If there is, then as part of the negotiation, you will always bring that out, and then you negotiate. And then the price become compensated in order to rectify those things. Right. But when you don't have a sharp eye to look at those details, then that's where you end up buying something and then you discover later. Now, when you talk about parking, right? So it's not just parking your two cars. Imagine you've got parents, brothers, or whoever, friends coming over. Where are they going to park? Right. So anything which
this one is a real thing. Interrupt, because actually Nizam invited me to his house yesterday. So he specially he called me to tell me exactly where I should park. So I think this is something that, you know, is really of a real concern.
Yep, it can be a concern, but fortunately the place that I am
have a lot of roadside parking.
You can have probably, like, even if 10 visitors come, there is space for them to park.
So the traffic warden won't come?
So far never have
So
been.
far haven't. Because they know this one Ismail's brother.
You don't please. Don't speak like that again. No. No, because the whole neighborhood.
Because I see some of the landlord, right, they purposely put a rubbish a bin, or maybe even some cone right along the like they own the road people cannot park there.
So that's the reason why if you were to buy anything along the main road, or not necessarily a main road, it can even be a very busy road. Right. Then that's where the concern comes in.
So do you think buyers should buy landed properties facing a main road if they have a choice?
I've always wondered this to myself as to why people buy a house that is along the busy main road. But you see, but they all don't mind. So there will surely be a reason why they don't mind. It's because either it comes at a compensated price.
Okay, so the price is a bit more affordable.
Yes, of course. And then also, if your gate is left open, you cannot allow to have your children, young ones, to run outside. If it is not so busy street, you can still leave the gate open. Then right outside this lane where I'm staying right now, you will see about few neighborhood kids, about 5-6 of them will be running here, running there.
So I think it's very important if you have children, right? That you don't want to worry about their safety.
Worry of their safety, as well
as
the
noise.
Then the noise, the dust.
So what do you think is a fair price? What kind of compensation?
Because honestly speaking, it's not so easy to say the compensation, right? Because when you talk about landed, there are so many things. You look at the shape of the land, the efficiency of the land, the elevation of the land, the orientation of the land. Then you go
anything.
Because what I mean by efficiency here is, you see, sometimes the land can be very rectangular, but it may not be flat. There can be a drop on the land, or there can be, undulating lands and all that. So it affects the efficiency. Sometimes you got a major drain running into the land.
We come back to that because that one is a very heavy topic.
So again, coming back to Lynn's question, we haven't answered.
I haven't answered. Sorry.
Yes, the maintenance.
Pest.
Pest.
Maintenance. Is there even maintenance fee for landed? There's no maintenance fee for landed. Maintenance means to maintain the house.
Maintain the house, like will it cost a lot to go and paint the house, or if there is a repair and all that. Personally, having been staying here for over about 10 years in one of these two houses, I personally felt that it's not maintenance isn't high, because every month you don't pay. Even in a condo, you easily pay about $300, $400 a month.
Does your roof leak, water leakage, things like that?
Recently, one of the house that I rented out, there was some roof leakage. So I just got a good contractor to go and attend to it. But you see, this is after how many years? After about 10 over years, I'm having this problem, right? So and I don't have to pay $400. That means every year I'll be saving about $4,000 to $5,000. So over 10 years, I already save about $4,000.
Do you have like snakes, sotong coming into your house, rats?
You won't believe me, I don't even have cockroaches in the house.
No cockroaches in your house?
If I were to see one, it's like, hey, where did this guy come from? This can only be like 2 or 3 times a year, that's all.
Why?
You see, the thing about, that's why a lot of people tend to think that there'll be a lot of pests if you are staying in a landed property. Right?
But I thought this is quite common, having, because we heard a lot about landed living having a lot to do with mosquitoes and things like that.
Mosquitoes, yes, you can't help. Mosquitoes, there will be, especially, if that estate, have got this mosquito season and dengue or whatsoever and all that. If not, other than that, cockroach, lizard, you can't help. Lizard, I think wherever also it will come. But it doesn't mean that because of landed there are more lizards. But rats never had.
Don't have.
Right? Cockroach are very, very seldom.
Don't have.
Right. Very most you got
Snake.
snake never had.
Never.
But unless I guess people who stay very near to nature reserves, like places maybe near to the Bukit Timah or Botanic Gardens, or those kind of possibly there can be, I suppose. But I never
some
had.
natural parks,
Yeah.
like Thompson or
I
things like
even
that.
have heard about monkeys coming to the house also. Right. But those are really, really very rare. But I don't think 90% of these landed homes will have. But why do pests visits your place? It's only if you were to have a habit of leaving food or unwanted waste food, exposed and not timely cleaning and throwing it away, because they respond to smell.
I see.
So my wife have got this habit of making sure every time it has to be cleaned, and rubbish daily you have to clear it at least once or twice.
So do you need to engage like what you call that?
Pest control people?
Pest control or fogging or what?
No, never.
No?
Never
No need?
had. Never had. Never had. Unless otherwise you got termite issues.
You cut your own grass and things like that?
I used to be cutting
You do your own gardening?
Own gardening, but recently I started engaging because spend more time on family and work lah.
Rich
No lah,
can spend money.
We are getting more.
Never
busy.
buy car. A lot of spare cash. Okay, just joking. Okay, so the next question. Okay, most of the older landed homes, right, they do not come with a lift. So do you think lift is important?
I think especially now moving forward, lift is very important because you see, olden days, rather I wouldn't even say olden days, even up to now, people tend to ask this question when they go for a landed viewing, is there a room on the ground floor? Why do they ask this question? Because they've got someone who's elderly that is going to be staying with them.
Yep.
But the moment you have got a lift, it doesn't matter whether you got a ground floor or not. You just move up. That's it.
So even the ground floor don't have a granny room, it's okay?
Yeah, it's okay. That's why when I designed the place, right, which I didn't proceed, right, it was supposed to have a lift, and there's no room on the ground floor. So big engineering.
But you couldn't do it because you didn't...
Decided not to do it. Yeah,
okay.
decided not to.
Okay.
So my father...
So in your next home, you will definitely want a lift?
Maybe. Depends on, because I really do not know what the future holds. But it's good to have a lift at home, because from rental perspective, from capital appreciation perspective, even from your own lifestyle perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, there was once when I was staying in my inter-terrace, right, we used to do go-kart. I had a fracture on my leg. Yeah, I had an accident and fracture of my leg. Yeah, yes. Then walking up the stairs to my room wasn't easy lah. Yeah, wasn't easy. So surely having a lift will make a huge difference.
Okay, lift is important.
Yeah.
So my next question is, what about security issues? So to me, right, I was thinking, let's assume after COVID, right, we can travel, and then maybe we will go for even a 1 month holiday and there's nobody at home. Is it going? Will you be afraid that people will trespass into your house, or things like that?
Okay. I mean,
or do you have to install cameras everywhere, and then every time you're always looking at a phone, looking at anyone trying to be funny coming to your house?
I mean, I am really not overboard about those concerns, but I do have security cameras installed, more as a deterrent, right? So that people don't even make an attempt to come. Yeah. But I must say, even when I was staying in my HDB, and I had my camera installed even at my HDB outside, after speaking to my neighbor and got the consent, had it there. I still had my shoes stolen with someone wearing a cap, and I see through the camera wearing a cap. He come, he take the shoe, he just left.
Must be you put your Christian Louboutin outside lah.
No, I don't get branded stuff anyway. So even in HDB things go.
Please advise him to start spending some money.
Yeah. So as a deterrent, I do.
So far, your two landed properties, even though you rented out for some years and you stayed for some years, no trespassing, no burglary, nothing, no break-in.
I had one incident. At that time, I haven't had the camera installed. This was probably in 2012 or 2013 probably at that time. No, probably 2012 or 13, yeah. That period of time when my kids were all back to UK. They were actually studying in UK at that time. And I was staying alone for that moment, and I was overseas. And when I came back, I saw the window ajar. Right, so there was a break-in. There were some items stolen, likely not much, because I don't leave anything at home. Everything is in the bank deposit. My wife don't like to wear any jewelry stuff and all that. So there's not much valuable at home.
And then you don't buy branded, there's no nothing
Yeah.
at home.
Yeah.
All the cash inside the bank.
Yeah, okay, so yeah. Okay lah. So there
So
was
not
there
a big
was,
concern for you.
Yeah.
Just
so
one time, one incident.
There
Alright.
was a break-in. There was a break-in. Yeah. So so it was lah.
So do you think there's any relation why a lot of landed homeowners, right, have very big dogs?
I don't have a
Maybe
doubt.
as a deterrence, like you say?
I could be, but I think it is more of a hobby than a security. I honestly I don't know.
You know, sometimes when you walk along the landed estate, right, one dog bark and then the next dog bark and then suddenly it's like you feel like you are the burglar, no?
Yeah, they're just discussing among themselves what to do with this guy.
Okay. Hey, come on, my dear friends, feel free to ask Nizam all your any questions also can. Okay, why he keep all his money in the bank?
As if you know, hey, I need money, that's why I got to work harder now. I got to work harder.
Okay. So just now, right, Nizam was talking about different land elevation, land size, shape, and things like that.
Orientation.
So maybe you want to share with us. Okay, just tell us what is the most ideal kind of landed property. Means this one, CC. If there's a checklist, this one 5 star.
Okay.
Most ideal.
Okay, I mean, you see, landed property is so diverse. Okay, talking about ideal property for most people.
If money is not objection, what is the most ideal?
Yeah, people like to have the house on an elevated land.
Elevated land.
Yeah, so that they feel that there's a gentle slope that comes down, so they feel a bit high.
Like a hilltop.
As
Good
well,
feng shui.
Yes, good. Yeah, exactly. That's the reason. And then with regular shape.
Regular shape.
Yes.
Square, rectangle.
Rectangle. Yeah, because from feng shui perspective, I suppose I'm not a feng shui expert. Just to put that disclaimer lah. But based on what I hear from the customers here is, of course, it's nice to have a frontage. I mean, a wide frontage. But if the back of the house is getting narrow, a lot of them don't like to buy. They feel that the feng shui is no good because the wealth is getting narrower as they progress.
I see.
So people don't mind a frontage wide, but then the back is even wider. They don't mind. But when it's tapered, they don't like it, right? So the best
wealth
here
restricted.
Yeah. So it is good to have very rectangular plot. And then if it is too thin and narrow, then you can't really becomes like one kueh lapis like that. So something which is more squarish will be a lot more efficient in layout. And ideally, the land is one flat piece of land, so that when you have a house in the center, children can run around it, or you also can walk around it. As compared to there are houses where I've seen where you go in and then you have to take one floor down because the land is really like down and then
I've been to such houses before.
Yeah, but it has got its own plus point also. In fact, I sold one of such house at Vanda Crescent some years back. Yeah, so that was a nice bungalow and that. But the advantage here is when you go down, is that you have got one basement on floor, basement floor, and you see most people for basement means it is dark because it is into the ground, right? But this kind of land, the basement means you open the the sliding door, you are going into the garden. That means your backyard garden is one floor below, but the front porch is one floor above. Personally, for me, I wouldn't like it because I would prefer on a flat ground. But then again, there are people who sees, hey, look, I go to the basement,
it's like
I can
different
have my
separation,
private,
right?
different
Living,
separation.
dining, and garden.
So it's really very individual preference to it. Then people don't like the house to be on a slope that is going down. I mean, you will see left, right, one row of houses, then the slope.
Sometimes the road is like, there's a slope and then there's houses, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder, inside is it flat or is it?
Of course, inside is flat lah.
So funny.
It's inside flat. So people like to be on the higher side. They don't like to be on the lower side. I really don't understand why.
I think it's still feng shui.
Must be feng shui again. Okay, then of course, that is only talking about the shape of the land. Then people like to have a swimming pool. So you also need to look at the land whether there's any major sewage drainage running below or not. So you don't just buy a big plot of land because you like it, then you want to put your swimming pool cannot because there is a drainage, government drainage, there is nothing you can do about that. So ideally it is free from any of this. So that's what we mean by efficiency of the land. So you can do what you want to do with that land.
Right? Any things that buyers should avoid
See, a lot of people like to say West Sun I don't like, West Sun I
West
don't
Sun,
like. But I can give you a long list of what you should avoid. Okay, but West Sun. But
Most important.
Okay, most important to avoid.
Or they have to check before they buy the property.
Okay, first of all, check in terms of the land, especially if they are buying somewhere which is location important when choosing a lender like RCR versus OCR.
Location. Is it important?
I personally don't think you need to be conscious about whether you are buying an RCR or OCR, because landed, landed has actually more or less the price gap is getting narrower and narrower between areas. Yeah, but most of the landed huge areas, land enclaves are District 19, District 15, they are all in OCR. But of course, if you were to look at Bukit Timah, that's another big landed enclave. Yeah, that is more like central area already. So OCR, RCR, people don't really see from that perspective. But what people like to look at here is when if at all you are buying near a road, and if it is a busy road, please do your RIP, road interpretation plan.
Road interpretation plan.
Yeah, because
RIP, I thought rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Yeah, do it yourself. You can just buy it for probably like $50 over, right? You can just buy it online, or otherwise get the lawyer to go and
To
buy
check
it.
about? To check what?
Because you see, generally landed properties, especially you need to have a setback of 7.5 meters. But then again, if there is going to be a major road, a busy road, especially class 1, class 2 roads, class 1s are actually expressways, or class 2 are really those big roads, major roads that is going from one area to another area. A class 3 also, your setback is no longer 7.5, it will be more. Yeah, but those days when they built, it was already narrow. But if at all, if this owner, you buy this house, you want to demolish and you rebuild, you have to push your house a lot behind. From 7.5 meters, you may have to push back to 12 meters or even 15 meters. And if that happens, then you got a big land, and then your house becomes so small.
So basically, the government will take away this land from you.
They won't take away immediately, but they then tell you that this part of this stretch of road within your house is reserved.
But if you tear down and rebuild,
if you tear down and
you have to return this part
you
to the
don't
government.
have to return. You just have to build your house further inside. Someday be prepared when the government want to take, then you still have got that distance in front of the front.
So does
porch.
the government compensate the owner for that?
The government probably may only, I don't have a personal experience on this of direct experience for the customer, but my understanding here is they are not going to take it from you now, so they are not going to compensate. Yeah. But if at all they need to take at that moment, I suppose they will compensate lah. I don't know, right? But the thing here is, so if you were to buy a land right now, if I demolish and rebuild, then I realize that hey, there's a affected by road line reserve, then I have to push it back. Then my whole house become smaller, inefficient use. That is one major thing that they will have to look at, right? Other than that, people will also like to. Okay,
Anne has another question.
How do you tackle if your house is at the back of kitchen is facing electrical utilities room?
So the electrical utilities room is not part of the house, right? It's outside, right?
At the back of kitchen is facing electrical utilities room. I think
substation, is it?
Yes, I suppose, and you are referring to a substation. That means it's a government huge substation, like a little building on its own. Is that what you are
Or another condo's substation or something like that?
Yeah, I suppose it can be, because every estate, a landed house, there will be a substation, right? So far, generally speaking, people do not like to buy a house that is very near to substation. I do not know how true it is, but people say there's magnetic fields, but
I believe so.
Yeah, but I'm
really,
one
of them.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure about that. So I never had an experience having to sell such houses, but it is always good for you to be upfront with them, with any of those buyers, right? That anything next to the substation, there is a concern for people, because then that's where the compensation of the price from a buying perspective will have to come in. So if you are representing the seller, you also need to educate the seller. I wouldn't use the word educate, you have to just share this with the seller, that these are some of the setbacks. Oh, government, so it must be a substation, that's what Andy is referring to, right? So there are some challenges to it. But the compensation comes in, especially, yes, correct. Thank you, Anne, for clarifying. But especially if the house is nicely done up, right? Nicely done up, some people don't mind. or because it is being compensated with nice renovation and all that, they'll just happily take it.
So I think what Anne is asking is how do you tackle if your house faces a substation? So I think Nizam explained quite clearly, the seller has to understand that this is something that is not that attractive, right? It's a negative point, and then end of the day it has to be a price compromise, right?
It has to be a price compromisation, or the compromise can even be from other perspective, because when the house is so well enhanced and so beautiful, people don't mind, okay, paying, because I'm paying the same price but I'm getting a lot more in the house.
Okay. So maybe not all buyers mind a substation.
Yeah, because I don't see any vacant house next to a substation. It's all being occupied by somebody anyway.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So maybe one very interesting question. I never see anyone pose this question, so I still have to ask. Leasehold and freehold, or even 999 or 956 or whatever is that list.
Okay.
Is it important? Yes, no, why?
I think it's very, very important. You see, in condo market, right? Condo, if I were to just go back many years back, people say 99 year cannot. It has to be freehold. I mean, I'm talking about 20 years back when I grew up, right? But today you realize that everybody can accept a 99-year lease because majority of condos are 99-year lease. And then from capital appreciation perspective also, 99-year lease gives you better capital appreciation, right? Especially if you were to sell that off before about 15 years or so, or after TOP. And from rental return also, 99-year give you a better rental returns. So
because
now,
the price point is a bit lower, right?
Because the price point is a bit lower, right? So now, but for landed it's a bit different, because you talk about landed, again, like I said earlier, only about 4 to 5% of the total residential is landed, right? And among this landed, majority are either freehold or 999. So 99 years lease landed becomes a minority within the landed buyers or what is available in the market. So most people will go for 999 and freehold. But then again, you must understand that not everybody buy with capital appreciation in mind. People who want a big landed, but then again, they do not have, or they do not wish to spend that much money onto a landed house or into their house, they will go for the lifestyle, buying a 99-year lease, because I get the same house just as big as that, but I'm just paying like $1 million less. That $1 million, I can use it for my kids' education, I can use it for my car.
And buy a new car.
Buy a new car, right? Okay, right? So generally speaking, if it is so to answer the question.
So if they are saying that if the buyers are actually buying a home and they want it to be much more affordable,
if they want it for much
it's
more,
okay to go for leasehold.
It's perfectly okay to go for a leasehold, but it is very important. You must know why are you buying. You buy with your eyes open. You don't blindly buy. Like I was just having a conversation with one of my clients just last week, this month, April. Sold his inter-terrace, and then he wanted to buy a 99-year. Sold his freehold inter-terrace, and he wanted to buy a 99-year leasehold inter-terrace. And we just closed the deal just last week also. And I was just sharing with him about the benefit of buying a freehold or a 999, and then he said, Nizam, but I'm very, very clear. I don't want to pay that difference into buying a freehold. I rather pay less and buy a 99-year, so that I will stay there for some years. Then after that, when I move and I want to buy a second property, so I would reserve my funds for my second property. And this one, I will collect rental. Rental. People are not going to pay less rental because it's 99-year lease. So the rental returns are going to be more.
Rental is the same.
Yeah, rental is the same. And then he said, look, even if there's going to be depreciation, if my house is going to be rented for about 10 years, he's going to compensate for the depreciation, but I get the cash flow. So not everybody thinks from making money.
But does 99 years landed still appreciate?
You see, it has to appreciate with the economy, but the decay of the lease will also offset the appreciation.
I see.
So it again depends on and which stage of the 99 are you in. You see, if you were to, you see, there are houses with balance lease like 40 years, 30 years, 50 years, there are balance lease. But these kind of houses, you will see is more challenging to sell, and people don't, the next buyer who buys, he's not going to spend another $500,000 or $1 million to rebuild just for a balance 40, 50 years. It doesn't make sense, right? So once they hit really a lot of depreciation, like 40, 50 years gone, then it will start depreciating a lot faster.
So for Nizam means the first house that you bought, right, your corner terrace, your intention was for capital appreciation and investment.
I think,
So therefore you chose a freehold.
yes, all along my mind has only
So I want to
been,
ask you the next question.
Yeah.
If today, let's assume you have already set aside a lot of money for your kids, everything is all fully paid for, and right now, let's assume you are 75 years old, and then right now your corner terrace house is worth 5 million, and a similar house, leasehold, is worth 2.5 million. Will you even consider selling your freehold, right, to shift to 2.5 million so you can cash out 2.5 million to enjoy some twilight years in your your golden years, assuming your kids no longer need your money, they are also well-to-do, and
honestly, I can't answer the question so candidly because I never have thought about that. Okay. Secondly, I'm a very low maintenance guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't really spend so much on whatever, low maintenance guy. So I never thought from that perspective. I don't think there's a necessity to sell, to downsize, just so to take the money to live off. Unless if there's a necessity, why not? I mean, but one thing that I would like to say, why am I or not just me, many people out there are think from the point of building their asset value. It's not because you will have more money later, but it's because you will have more options later.
I see.
You can choose to keep, you can choose to sell, you can choose to even leverage a loan, and there's so many more options. But if you don't build your wealth, in your golden years, you got less option, or worse still, no option.
Very wise advice from Nizam. So Faris have a question. What are the chances of lease renewal for a landed house being approved?
What are the chances of land renewal of landed houses being approved by the government? Are there any? Honestly, I don't have any previous cases. Neither have I heard of anybody, any cases of government renewing the lease. The only case that we all know was at Geylang Lorong 1 or Lorong 3. All the row of landed houses, they were all evacuated and was retaken.
So I think not many precedents. Huh?
Yeah, the precedence was only this lease was extended by another 2 or 3 years, allowing them time to go and find for another place. So not like there was precedent, not that I know of. I may not know everything about landed. So based on my experience, I've never heard of that.
Okay, so Nizam, I just want you to share with all our viewers, right? You are also a practicing real estate salesperson, very experienced, like more than 2 decades in this industry, right?
Yep.
So you are still actively transacting landed properties among all your other transactions. So maybe you want to share with us what is really happening in the landed market right now. Is it hot? What are some of the deals that you have transacted?
Wow, okay. I see that ever since the last quarter of last year.
Last quarter, in the last 3 months.
Last quarter of last year. That means
last quarter of last year.
Okay.
That
means
6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago. Till now, the market has really been very, very bullish. And initially, post-COVID, I was experiencing this problem of 2 schools of thought. Some buyers thought the market is going to be bullish. There's some buyers who thought that, wow, this is still too early, the worst is yet to come, the prices are going to collapse and all that. So I lost a few home buyers. Sometimes you see, I am so passionate about landed, right? Sometimes I know this is damn good buy, you must go and take, but then, wow.
Why you never call me?
No, it's not that. I go and talk to him, present to him, show him, but then he say, no lah, I think the market is, no lah, US economy lah, this lah, that lah, whatever. But then today, I still have got some
Instead
of
of crashing, it went up.
It shoot up. So there, I still have several buyers who today is like stopped looking at because they feel that this has moved up too fast, too much.
How much has the market run?
Okay, if you were to look at statistics, the whole of last year, it only went on average 1.2%. But then in the last quarter, it went about 5.6%.
So in 1 quarter, $1 million house will worth 1.05.
Yeah, but this is only average, you see. But then when you look into the landed, and this, I mean, I'm sure you would have experienced this because you were looking for landed for some time, right? You see, in the market, if you want to have a budget and a decent landed, there are not many. You don't have 20 landed to choose from.
Many.
There are only probably 3 or 4, that's all.
If you have a $3 million budget, you cannot buy his house.
Please don't rub it in. So what I'm saying here is, regardless of, even if someone with a $10 million budget, a $10 million budget, he's very clear what he wants. Based on what he wants, he doesn't have 10, 20 units to go and look at. There are probably only about 3, 4 units.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's all.
There's
So
no supply in the market. Not many.
There is very little supply in the market. In fact,
Are they being stepped up quite fast?
very fast. In the last 6 months, I mean, ever since November, December, January, February, March, April, I've done 6 landed transactions.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed, and thank you. I mean, I've just been blessed, 6 landed transactions.
And that's among all his other transactions.
A few other transactions, right? So one was a bungalow. One I worked closely with Francisca. That was a small good class bungalow that was sold. One semi-D, one corner terrace, one inter-terrace, and one cluster house 99-year lease inter-terrace also.
Oh, so almost all segment of the
Almost
landed,
all yeah.
from cluster house
Bungalow,
to inter-house, inter-terrace to GCB.
GCB, a small GCB to a bungalow to semi-D to corner terrace to a terrace and a cluster 99-year.
So everything is running.
Everything,
You have
yes.
buyers are buying, you know, how to say, we have all categories of buyers.
All category of buyers are just coming in to just pick the unit. Yeah, because they feel that, honestly, sometimes I don't understand why, but probably people feel that it's not going to go back anymore. And
Or maybe after COVID, people all want more space.
possibly.
And today, right, if you buy a penthouse or if you buy even a strata landed in a condominium, right, it easily costs you around 3 million easy.
Strata landed?
Yeah.
A strata landed, you can get under 3 million, 2 million plus. You can
But it's a bit smaller and you don't own the land and it's 99 years leasehold.
Yeah. A strata landed, the difference here is the foothold.
Yeah.
You get more floor space and then you get a lot of built up area, but
You
the
enjoy the
footprint,
facilities if you like facilities.
you get the best of both. Right. So
Okay, so Nizam, I understand you do have one house that you want to recommend to our viewers.
okay.
Maybe you can roughly describe the house before we play the video.
Okay, this is very unique. This is a 99-year lease. It's a corner terrace, 2,500 plus square feet. It's just about 12 years.
2,500 plus square
Plus
feet.
land.
Land.
And then the built up is over 4,000 square feet.
4,000 built up.
Spread over 4 levels.
Wow.
Yeah, it has got a huge
So
basement.
it's a 3 plus
entertainment
attic.
hall. Yeah, 3 plus attic plus a basement.
Basement, 1, 2, 3, attic.
Yeah, and it's got a lift going from basement all the way to the attic, right? 5 en suites, all, yeah. But then this is 99-year lease, so it becomes very affordable. It's nestled in this Sembawang area, right? So it's just walking distance to the beach.
Roughly, what's the price point?
Price point is going under 3 million.
Under 3 million.
Under 3
But
million.
if the same house, freehold land, what, in your opinion, what's your estimation?
It will easily probably be in
5
the
levels,
region-
basement.
Yeah,
Basement is
so-
not cheap.
So it could probably be in the region about 3.4 thereabout, but this is going about 2.6 plus
So
thereabout.
it's almost close to $1 million difference.
Yeah, thereabout.
I think 3.4 too low. Basement 1, 2, 3 plus attic.
Yeah, but then again,
I-
you see, but then again, I'm taking into consideration this is in Sembawang.
Sembawang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's okay. For those who want to live near nature,
Yeah,
live near the
the
park,
nature.
live near the
Yeah.
sea, maybe we can play the video for you to take a look.
Yep.
Wow, I think this is a very nice house. So Nizam, maybe you can just give the viewers a very brief description.
About the house.
Yeah, about the house.
It's just under, it's probably about 10 years old, so the house is very well kept and underused basically because it was bought for the parents and then the parents moved with the family already just about last year. So, and they maintain it very well and in fact, honestly, the actual viewing is going to start, the first weekend for viewing is going to be only this coming weekend.
This is a fresh listing. Nobody has seen the house yet.
But we had one person who viewed because I went there to inspect the place and so happened someone wanted to view. I said come and view and I already got an offer.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
But really not the best of the offer which I feel is fair for the seller. But I'm just surprised that the offer, and it also not a low ball offer. So
it was a decent offer. Yeah.
It was decent but can
so
be a
the
lot
house must be very beautiful.
Yeah. So the house is really very nice and then the estate is nice. So I personally think this property may not be in the market for too long. So if you have got a buyer who really enjoys the space as well as the nature, it's like living in the city but away from the city kind of a feeling, then this is the place for you. So you don't have to, you can really save a lot on paying for a freehold. If people are not mindful about capital appreciation and all that, it's just for the family to just have a wonderful time, then this is a place because the garden space is about 3 meter wide, very rare. Usually the setback is only 2 meters, this one is 3 meters, so you can have a lot of things.
A lot of space for your family.
Yep.
All right, so tonight we are going to wrap up our session tonight with Nizam. So Nizam, I just want you probably to leave our viewers with some advice. One advice for our fellow colleagues in the industry and one advice for potential homeowners looking for landed property.
Okay, first I start with, I wouldn't use the word advice, but to share with fellow agents here is landed is not any more complex than doing any other apartment or condo or HDB. In fact, I think HDB got a lot more policies than even landed. So it's almost anybody and everybody can do, and landed becomes a lot more interesting because every house is different, the dynamics are different, and then you can just learn along the way. It's really not difficult. So go on. And I've seen agents who have never done landed who straight away go and transact a GCB, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So there are agents who have done that. So you please embrace that, and then you will love it.
Never try, never know.
And then the second thing that I would like to share, be it for the consumer or you yourself can also be a potential consumer who buys a landed. Don't have this mindset that wow, landed is a lot expensive to maintain it, as well as there's a lot of issue about pests and all that. Honestly, it's not. Yeah, honestly, it's not. If you were to get an ideal home, of course, I mean, any of you agents out there, if you want a little bit of thoughts or whatsoever, I'll be more than happy to share with you, right? If you are getting a home, because I see increasing number of agents, Propnex agents have been picking up landed homes since last year.
Yes.
I just don't want to mention the names here.
That's why there's no landed in the market. Everybody is buying. Agents also buying.
Agents are, yeah, a lot of agents are also buying. The other day I was just driving past, then I just say, this is our agent. I just took a picture, WhatsApp him. He said, why you never come inside? So he just also bought something recently.
I think this trend is just going to get stronger and stronger.
Yep.
And definitely this will push up the price because of the demand and supply, right?
Yeah, demand and supply. So please reach out for landed, and then please take note that this will really help you to build that capital appreciation.
Thank you, Nizam, for the wonderful long session tonight. We went to the in and out, and Nizam actually is very, very open, sharing his own personal portfolio with everyone on Facebook Live. So this is something not everyone wants to do, but Nizam is here tonight to share with us his experience. So really want to thank Nizam for coming on to this show.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. I just wish and hope this has added some value to those viewers out there. Right.
Okay, so before I end, just want to let everyone know next Monday's topic, will be something also very interesting. I'll be talking about integrated development. So what is an integrated development? Integrated development is something like you have a condo on top, you have a shopping mall below, you have a bus interchange, you have an MRT, and then you have all the convenience all at one area, one development. So that's what we call integrated development. So we are going to explore how is integrated development a good investment? How about, is it convenient? Are there any ugly sides of the integrated development? Right? Is it too messy, too noisy, and things like that? And is it worth to pay a premium over a typical condo that doesn't have all these amenities right in front of you? So we're going to talk about this topic. So please Tune in next Monday, 8 p.m. live on my Facebook. Thanks everyone.
Thanks everybody.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Lynn. My pleasure answering your question.